lot of people talking about this Dune 2 being a masterpiece. Um, I don't know, Brandon. I don't know if you said, do you think it is a masterpiece? Me and Brian are kind of like, not yet, or maybe not.
I think
But
I don't think
I think I think there's a grace period that a movie must pass in order for me to
mm,
comfortably consider it a masterpiece.
same,
It's only been a weekend.
yeah,
It hasn't even been a week. So I think maybe if you check in with me 6 months, nine, maybe a year down the line,
yeah. That
then we can
Yeah, that's the same
yeah.
exact thought I have. Like it at least a year. People need to talk about it and fully break it down and get the
Mhm.
details and then find out if it is a masterpiece or not.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
yeah.
and it's a terrific movie. Don't get me wrong, but when you're that early on and the movie is that fresh in your mind, it is easy to talk with that still be fueled by the hype. That's nothing to take away from the movie, at all. But I think I'd have to hold off a little bit before I can comfortably call it a masterpiece.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
Because we got one person. There you go. Brand Davis. Because we were talking about masterpieces on Facebook and this and that, and that word's going flying around everywhere right now. So it was like, okay, maybe let's talk about what some movies are masterpieces. Because in order to be a masterpiece, I think you need to be compared to what already is a masterpiece. Even if they're different
Hmm.
genres, a masterpiece movie is still one of the best movies ever.
Yeah.
So the genre doesn't matter as much as it being a good film, a good movie.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So what do you guys have as some of your masterpieces? Brian, what you got?
I could definitely. I think Shawshank Redemption is the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life. I think that's a
Hmm.
masterpiece. I
Yeah,
literally think it was a perfectly acted, balanced. Because the two main actors are both very balanced. You know, each mean everything to each other. Like it was a great story. Everything is great with that. Another one for me, Good Will Hunting. I think Good Will Hunting is a masterpiece. I love that movie. And I think it's funny because it comes from these two young guys coming, they wrote it when they're in high school. But it's perfect. I feel like the
yeah,
balancing of it and the whole idea um from Robin Williams and Matt Damon, and
Matt Damon.
it was so well done. I think that's another one that we're talking about are just unbelievably perfect movies. That everything they did was great. Um, I don't know if it's a master.
mm,
Was it? Is it not Interstellar, but Inception? Inception
okay,
to me is perfect. When they leave you with questions because they don't tell you where all the answers are, and it leaves it for interpretation. I think that's another thing. That's a masterpiece. Great done. It changed the way movies were made. And when I'm talking
mhm,
about changing movies, the way movies are made, Matrix in 1999 changed the game. It changed the game. Everything that you thought
Hmm.
was great, everything you thought was happening, changed. It just,
yeah,
and I'm talking about more modern day because I know we got you always have the Godfather Part Two. You have Citizen Kane. You have all those things. But I mean, these are movies that I saw. I was like, dude, this is it.
yeah. Again,
Like
another
and
movie, Matrix, real quick. Matrix, a Messiah. To
Hmm.
see
Messiah.
the
Yeah.
chosen one kind of movie. So yeah. So yeah,
But that
but
was on
yeah.
my list too. But I remember walking out of the movie theater saying, "This I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
Never." And I don't think I feel that same way about Doom Part Two because I
Mm-mm.
knew the story, I knew what was going on, and I didn't walk out saying, "This is the greatest thing I've ever seen." So, but I'm literally comparing it to the best stories of all time, and I'm going in my top five of The Lion King because I think The Lion King is the perfect animation story ever.
Mhm.
It's just perfectly done. Music, everything, storyline, sucks you in. That's it. So those are mine.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh. What about you, Brandon?
How about you,
Um,
You got
Brandon?
You got movies or you need a
Um,
moment?
no, I know you already said Shawshank Redemption, so I'll let you have that one. It's definitely one of the ones at the top of my list. I'd say another one is Psycho. I
Yeah.
think it's like
Psycho's a good
one
one.
of like
That's a
the
good one.
yeah, one of like the definitive horror movies, if not the one. I think it takes things that you usually wouldn't associate with horror and makes them like tense and scary. Like even some of the ways that it's shot, like with Mother Bates like walking up the staircase at the detective, that was scary. That was like one of the scariest scenes I've ever watched. I'd say another one is The Departed. Easily my favorite Martin Scorsese movie. Um,
Everybody
I
got shot
think
in the
everything
face.
about it. Say what?
So everybody got shot in the face.
Yeah.
Sure did. um, I think everything about it, from like the pacing to the performances, it's what really, I was at that point where I was paying progressive attention to Leonardo DiCaprio as an actor, and not just a Hollywood heartthrob, but like a full-on actor. I'd say another one is Silence of the Lambs.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, I think.
I think it has some problems. I've always thought those Silence of
Say
the
what?
Lambs had problems.
Really, I can
I
see that.
always thought, yeah. Great
Mhm.
movie, though. Yeah,
But
I always thought it had problems. But when you said Silence of the
mhm.
Lambs, that made me think about, how do you feel about Seven?
Oh, I love Seven. You
Because I
know,
think Seven is one of those movies that don't have those issues, because the things that they don't show you
mhm.
drive you wild, drives your imagination
Yeah.
crazy. I think that's
True.
another thing that's a masterpiece, where you could put together, and I bet you they finished making that movie. They said, "Yeah, we got one, guys. We got one."
Mhm.
I'm sure a lot of people. I'm sure people after Madam Web was like, "This is gonna be a good one." So
I don't think so.
yeah,
I
I don't
think
think so
everyone else
Mhm.
is like, yeah.
they're like, "Are we done yet?"
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, what are some other ones that trying to? I just had one. Um, shit. Um, Kind of taking an easy route with this one, but kind of piggybacking off what you said, Brian, with David Fincher. I absolutely love Fight Club.
Yeah.
Fight Club's another good one, man.
That's it.
That
Mhm.
might be a masterpiece. I might put that in my masterpiece level too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. And everything about that one. I remember I used to like rent that over and over and over again. It drove my parents insane. I actually wanted to go see it in the theater when I was little. My parents didn't want to take me. Um, yeah, and then when it came out, I finally got them to like rent it for me, and then I would rent it over and over and over and over again. So yeah, that's another one. And happy you actually mentioned Disney animation. I'm not going to take the Lion King from you, Brian, but I'm going to say Beauty and the Beast, because that's one of my favorite Disney animated
Oh,
movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
surprised no one said
Mhm.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Mhm.
well. It's not my favorite Tarantino movie. It's up there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
yeah, like some of the ones like from masterpiece, because there's like my personal favorite movies, and then there's like
Mhm.
masterpieces. Like Fight Club is probably one of my all-time favorite movies, like all the time.
Mhm.
Same thing with Matrix, but I would put Matrix as a masterpiece and not
Over, yeah.
Fight Club. You know what I mean? Because Fight Club is
Mhm.
amazing. I love it. Like yeah, it was a great movie with great actors. Um,
I
but
remember just
Matrix,
being like, holy crap, when that twist happened, when you find out like who and what Tyler Durden really is.
yeah, yeah, and then just the change of it all. This was
Mhm.
amazing. But for me, like Godfather Part 2 is probably
Oh,
For
I'm so
me,
sorry. I have one more. I'm so sorry. I have one
what you
more.
got?
American History X.
Yeah, dude, that one's on my list too.
Hmm.
Because again, that's another, and I like stories like that, where like
Hmm.
a character starts off one way, and in this case, a really, really, really bad way, goes through some shit and has a really
Hmm.
interesting arc, and it's so extreme. Like American History X
Hmm.
goes from like dude is literally a Nazi, goes to jail,
Hmm.
and like has a complete like change, and everything's changing around him, and and then it's also like what he has to deal with from being his old self with his family, trying to go
Hmm.
down this route. It's such a that is a masterpiece.
Right.
That one.
Fun fact. Fun fact. It was not. It was almost. It was the role of Derek almost was not played by Edward Norton.
Oh, really?
Originally the studio wanted Joaquin Phoenix,
Oh,
and
ooh.
Oh,
he yeah
uh,
right
I love
couldn't
Joaquin, but
couldn't picture it.
no,
Yeah,
yeah,
couldn't see him in that role. But he passed on it because he didn't like the story content.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I mean,
So he
it
passed
could
on
be
it.
it could be a film where like, hey, we want you to play a Nazi. You're like, oh, hold on a second,
Hmm.
So yeah, you know, and luckily, I think
Yeah,
Edward Norton is a good enough actor where he was able to do that and you know be
yeah.
so
The fact,
more than himself.
yeah,
yeah.
and he was like scary during the Nazi scenes,
Yes.
especially
Oh
the
my god.
Just the
yeah.
curve.
Yeah. Um,
Bram knows a lot of stuff. He does, man. He
yeah,
knows a
dude.
lot about like the like movie like info and stuff, which is yeah.
Mhm. um, but yeah, like I'd say American History X for sure. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
No,
Frank.
it's all good. No, because that's on my list, man. So it kind of like connects it. Because
Mhm.
yeah, because it's not a movie where I think, yeah, I mean, we already talked about that. The Godfather Part Two, I think, do we even talk about it? Like, it's just that's a perfect movie, like for me. Um, you know, uh, what else I had? It Matrix, you guys already talked about, love that one. When you guys think of Rocky, I think Rocky is a masterpiece because again, it's another story of a man. It starts here and ends here, and it's just like this the challenges and everything. And I mean, it
Mhm.
really put Stallone on a level, and on a trajectory that like he became
Mhm.
Stallone. He became the dude, like just everyone knows him. But
Yeah, it's
Rocky
like
was
the ultimate underdog story, right? The
yeah,
definitive one,
yeah.
dare I say?
No, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, American History X, Shawshank is on my list as a masterpiece. Um, I was looking at a list, and the one I was looking at, they have Forrest Gump, and I'm like, I don't know if it's a masterpiece. I
Yeah,
get why
that's
people
good. I don't
call it
know.
a masterpiece, though.
Mhm.
I get why people call
Great
it a
movie. I love Forrest Gump. Yeah.
amazing movie.
I
Love
love it
it.
too.
You know, yeah. Same with Scarface. Love Scarface. It is
It
amazing.
is not a masterpiece though.
I don't know if it's a masterpiece though.
Yeah, I don't know if I call it a masterpiece.
I can't put it at the level. Again, amazing movie. Love it. Watch it a mazillion times. And it's a movie I'll never get tired of, but it's just not at that level. Um, The Lion King, definitely. Uh, that's on my list too. But I'll finish with these last two. Jaws, I think, is a masterpiece
Mhm.
where you're able to tell this story and just you're so scared the entire time, and you never see the monster, and the monster is just a shark, where
Mhm.
it built it up so much for you, and you're just like you're freaked out, you're scared. I mean, it's so much of an amazing story that it legit caused like this crazy, shark hunt, for years after, because people thought like sharks were just going to kill people at beaches all of a sudden because Jaws is out, you know. So, Jaws I think is good. But Return of the King, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King,
Mhm.
that's a masterpiece because that story is perfect. It's amazing, and I know friends of our channel, a friend of the channel, Kenny Sparks just watched it. And I know Zach Attacks is about to watch it, and I can't wait for them to watch it because it is one of my all-time favorites, and I think it is just an amazing movie that just changed
Mhm.
fantasy, sci-fi. It's set another level. You know, it's like this is the peak of fantasy sci-fi. Can you get to that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. And I don't know if a movie has gotten that close to it, but yeah.
It's weird because I like Harry Potter more than I like Lord of the Rings.
Harry Potter's great. Harry Potter's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, but I don't think any of those movies are masterpieces. I think they're all just really good. But
Yeah,
Chad
same.
said, Princess Bride. Princess
Yeah.
Bride is my all-time favorite movie to watch. All time. I love that movie.
He said Purple Rain, Ghostbusters, MI4. Any of those masterpieces?
Purple Rain.
Rain's a great movie. But
Mhm.
I don't think it's a masterpiece.
Yeah. What I call Ghostbusters a masterpiece. Much as I love Ghostbusters,
Love it.
and I love it, I love almost everything Ghostbusters. The remake didn't do a whole lot for me, unfortunately. The first Ghost, I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, great music, great acting, great story.
Mhm.
But the villain wasn't that great. So that's I don't know if it's a masterpiece. I think it's
I can't.
it's
I
the
can't.
realm
give
are really, 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 really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
I
not
can't
sure.
give
Yeah.
that title of masterpiece. It's great. It's great, and I love it. I watch it 100 times, but
Mhm.
I can't. And then MI4, man, you're really
Which
showing
one's it?
Mission
Ghost
Impossible
Protocol?
4. I think so.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah.
one. First one
Yeah,
when they started to go step outside the actual
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
I'd say my favorite of the Mission Impossible movies, if I had to like pick a masterpiece out of them, even though I can't really like in good conscience call any of them masterpieces as much as I love them, but I think like Fallout came closest.
Yeah. Fallout was awesome.
Fallout was great. Much as I like and you know, I really like, you know, Mission Impossible really hit its groove for me. We may have talked about this in the past. It really hit its groove for me and found its footing starting with the third movie.
Mhm.
That's when Mission Impossible really started doing it for me.
He's like, however, it was a perfect film. Dean gave it an A.
Green Mile.
Now there's a masterpiece.
I mean, what can you do to change that movie to make it any better? There's literally nothing. I can't think of anything you could change to make it better.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. No, same. It was the perfect with what's his name?
Here's the only problem I have with Green Mile. The only thing I have a problem with Green Mile is it makes me so sad that I can't watch it all the time. Like I can't. I just can't put it back on. It's like, oh, it's so sad. It makes me so angry with people.
Yeah, I think I've watched that movie in its entirety probably like 2 or 3 times, and that's enough. And that's nothing to take away from the movie. But yes, it's a movie that upsets me.
Yeah. But I mean, that's part of what makes it a masterpiece is the emotional impact it has on you is so impactful where you're just like you get emotional, you know, you get angry, you get sad, you know, and
see Michael Clark Duncan actually going through that whole thing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How can you not cry?
Yeah. Exactly.
We need to stop this conversation because we love movies.
Yeah.
We will be talking here till 1:00. And it's already 12:25. So I think we gotta stop.